Hey, this is Jenn with Somebody Now, and I'm here to remind you that you are somebody now, right now. All right, let's go. Hey, this is Jenn with Somebody Now. You're here for the second episode. I'm here with my amazing friend, Sam Goodman. He is the founder of the Fulfillment Source Code. He is the author of Life 6 Buckets, and he is a single father.
Yes.
Ladies.
Hey.
What kind of show is this?
That's right. He's a Scorpio. Enjoys long walks on the beach.
Cold plunge.
That's right.
Yeah. So how's your week been, Sam?
We're on Monday, so just getting started. That said, my daughter got back last night, so very, very good start. Yay.
Exciting. Both of us had an awesomely rough week last week. We talk every day. And Sam and I met 5 years ago. He had put something out on the Upworks looking for some PR communication stuff. And then I hopped on with him and we've just worked on and off since then, trying to bring the FSC to life and through all of the normal life struggles that everybody goes through, and just every day waking up and today is the day.
We are one step closer than we were yesterday, I think. Right?
Yes. Oh no, we're super and it's funny because now we're super close, and it still blows my mind that things will just be trucking along and then so we're also accountability buddies.
This morning, I was just telling my daughter that, I woke up this morning at 6 and I was, we need to do the onboarding video. Okay, so for the adults, they could be doing it like this. Or they could be doing it like this or like this. Or they could be doing it like this. So you have to do this one thing, but then this one thing turns out to be, actually it's 9 things that they're doing. And just every single step is just, an order of magnitude more complicated than you're, didn't see that. Right. Okay, let's deal with that.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I run into, or you run into, or anybody who's building something runs into, is understanding. Well, it's funny because the barriers to entry thing, people always think, capital is a barrier to entry. Capital solves a lot of things because then you have resources to be able to pay other people to do the things that you don't have time for as one person. But other than that, it's still with the constant evolution of technology, with the constant change and requirements, what is acceptable, not acceptable. When you look at things from marketing perspective, opt-in, legalities, just it becomes this massive thing. So just trekking through that on the journey that you have, it's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
And you're doing it phenomenal.
Thank you. I love the fact that it was Elon Musk who's like, coming up with a concept is hard. Well, so having an idea is easy. Making that idea, going from 0 to 1, and creating that prototype, that's not always easy. But taking something from a prototype to market is 100 times harder. And then taking whatever it is that you have and scaling it into so that you can do mass market, that's another 1,000 degrees, harder. And until you've actually gone through this, it's so difficult. I mean, I've gone through this a number of times as an entrepreneur, but I'm still like, it's like every step forward is it gets more for what you have to do. And it's just, holy crap. Yeah. It's just, it's not that it's endless. I mean, you'll never get to perfect, and that's okay. But knowing that it's going to be not a slog, but you got to really embrace the grind. Cause you just the first 5
you got to fall in love with the grind. You don't just embrace it. You got to find ways to gaslight yourself into being this is good. I like this. This is
part of the process.
Yeah, no, I'm learning so much right now.
Yeah. This is me doing the reps.
Yeah. It's gonna pay off.
This is outside my comfort zone. This is where the growth all that.
Well, and then eventually you just kind of live outside of the comfort zone, and you have to catch yourself am I still sane? Have I evolved into something that is not normal because now that's where my comfort is. You know what I mean? When I first did, I had invented this thing called the drink tug. And it was just this, I sent it on a Kickstarter and I did the provisional patent and I was super proud of myself, but it was easily, I couldn't afford a patent attorney. I couldn't afford somebody to do the search or anything like that. So I went through 10,000 patents individually to see whether or not there was, anybody else had patented the process or similar devices or whatever else before I submitted that, because I didn't want to run into the legalities. But that's just one piece of it. That's not going through the process of designing it, putting it into a CAD design. And then at the time, even the prototype, I still have it. It was $1,500 for me to get a thing printed for the prototype. Now you can get it, way easier, way faster, especially if it's small. But then looking into the plastic injection molding and then looking into it needs to be food safe because it's going to go into this, and then researching all of those things. So it just becomes this, I want to say, windfall of just, I got to learn more. And that's just one thing. That's just producing a thing,
Yeah.
And it's,
and if somebody's not an entrepreneur, and it's quite interesting because I've been doing this for a while, but apps, when they came out 15 years ago, everyone's, oh, I can be an entrepreneur and making an app. And being a solopreneur was like, oh, this is so easy because I'm doing this tech thing. And then, there's a huge number of people who made a lot of money fairly quickly. But if you haven't done this, you got to understand it's like the product and service is like one aspect of what you're doing, and just getting that right, because it's got to be good. If it's not good, then forget it. But then you have the whole, all the other aspects. So okay, first the product and service has got to be really kick ass, and then there's the process of what is it, your website, or how is it people that are coming on board. So that's a whole nother thing, which is a completely different skill set and technology, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the marketing. So it's all of these things that need to get done. And you already said it. If you have capital, then that helps out a lot. But I also, having done this a few times, having capital is great when you're on the right track. But if you're on the wrong track and you have capital, then you have all this, you need to be producing. So you have this, not the struggle, but you have this, you have this pressure, especially if you have investors. Oh my God. They're like, I'm giving you money. And I would say that the vast majority of them are like, I want to see you start to make a return pretty quickly. You have very rarely, especially if you're just getting started, you have someone who's like, take your time, spend as much money as you.
I want it to be really good. I want to make sure you take care of people.
Yeah. It's just like, go. Every time we're doing something new, it's like stuff is in a state of constant, not breaking, but as you're pushing the boundaries, it's just, this is okay. Yeah, this is going to break in 5 different ways. Okay, now it's not breaking. Then you go a little bit farther. Oh, shit's breaking again. Okay, so it's like you feel things are constant, because you're progressing, things are constantly just,
it's all moving. The ground is moving constantly. You have to be so adept and like a ninja to be able to, but just think about it from the perspective of how to feel good about yourself while you're doing this. If you were to just sit back and think about how much parkour ninjaing you had to do. Yeah, exactly. You're just, oh my gosh, I'm actually freaking awesome. I am kicking ass right now because it's a cluster. It's such a cluster.
Yes, as I'm constantly eating shit, I'm so awesome. No, gotta work on that perspective. But man,
yeah. This shit tastes like shit sometimes.
It's like, this is not fudge. No matter what it is. This is not gourmet. This is not,
no matter which way. But then that's when it's really important to bring in the mindfulness and to bring in the things, all of those exercises that we do daily to kind of keep things in check, because it's a system, it's a machine, and you have to give it the things so that you can even function properly to be able to have a chance at doing it, much less doing it successfully.
Yeah. And I so to that effect, I was chatting with a friend just yesterday, and she's one of the most talented artists that I know, and she's being hardcore into Buddhism. And I was like, does this have to be like 100% into this, accepting this, or can you just like take what you want? Because perfection is not going to happen. It's just that off the table. That perfection is not the goal. The goal is to be on the path towards. That's where you want to be. If I can just be like 0.1% better than I was yesterday, that's a good thing. I'm just not even going to contemplate, oh, I'm not perfect. I'm like, duh. That's no, like
How
that.
dare you?
So
Yeah.
it's just, how can I be a little bit better? Yeah, if I could just take off that expectation of being perfect or anywhere close to it, how can I just be a little bit better? And if I can just do that, that's great. Because like you said, we have to take that break and go as many times a day as you can, and probably more times than you're doing. That's it.
That's actually a really good segue into the FSC, but then also from an entrepreneurial standpoint is like having an understanding the value and necessity to provide yourself with accessible goals, with things that are attainable, and why that's important. And I actually think that that's a really good thing for you to, introduce what the fulfillment source code is and how those
Happy
tie in.
to. So in a nutshell, the fulfillment source code is two things. One, it's everything I wish I knew when I was 10. And then it is essentially all of the cool evidence-based, all the science in the personal development industry, but done in a way that 10-year-olds love to learn. Take in neuroplasticity, cognitive biases, the gut biome, stuff like that, and made it into a fun adventure that kids do together. So that is that. Because I mean, and it all started because I did not want my daughter, who was about 10 at the time of this starting, to go through her academic career and not learn these skills. And that happened because I was in between projects and I saw this cool thing, TED Talk, like this is like 8 years ago. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I wish I knew that when I was 10. Because when I grew up, it was, you can't
Get outside.
Not just that, but it was like, you can't teach a dog new tricks. Oh, but according to neuroplasticity, you can. And so it's just knowing that, oh, here's the mechanism in your brain that this is what it works and this is how it works. And it's like, wow, I wish I knew that when I was 10. And then I saw that. And then it was like cognitive biases with Daniel Kahneman. And then it was, the gut biome. There's all these things that I wish I knew when I was 10. And I was like, man, how do I get these cool things to my daughter? My own daughter's, like her utility belt, the bat, whatever her, not the bag of tricks,
like,
but
that's
yeah, like, oh,
it's like watch.
I wish I had these skills earlier. So how do I do that? And that was just the process of, I created this list. Actually, it was a laundry list of things I wish I knew. And I asked her teacher, she was at we lived in Beijing then, and she was at an international school. So I was like, hey, how come we don't teach kids these skills? And her response, I mean, it changed my life. She was like, I don't know, but man, do they need it. And I was like, okay, I'll get back to you on that one. And I mean, it took a year and a half of compiling all of these brainiacs. Again, I'm like 98% of the content in the fulfillment source code is not from me. It's like Daniel Kahneman and John Rady and these brainiac dudes and dudettes from all over the world. And then it was just working with a friend who was a game developer. And he's like, you got to make it fun. You got to make it, a story. And that then began my own little adventure of learning how the brain loves to learn, why it loves to learn. And so, the game mechanics, I don't want to say gamification because that's whistles and bells, but the brain has these natural tendencies. And if you understand what it likes and you give it to them, kids are always asking, why should I care? And if you can't answer that question, if you can't make it personally relevant and fun and interesting and all of this laundry list of things that the brain is like, if you do this, good. If you don't do this, bad. And what is it? Will Richardson, he's got a great TED Talk. It's all the things that are wrong with education These are things brain hates. This is what we give them. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, it's like, don't do these things. And it's like, okay, so we'll do these things. And yeah, so I mean, it started off as, how do I create the coolest class, the coolest adventure for kids? And I say this because it was a class, and it's like, we're never going to be better than Minecraft or Roblox, but we can kick the crap out of math, right?
There's a bunch of math kids out there like nothing's
Yeah,
cooler.
to that. But it's just, that was the goal. Is we want to make this the class the kids are looking forward to. And we did really well. I know we did well because the kids would go home and talk about what they learned. And then the parents would come to me and be like, Sam, you should be teaching this stuff to us, because we didn't know this stuff, which is, legit. We never, I didn't grow up learning these things. It wasn't in the curriculum, still not. But as an adult, I mean, I don't know what it's $1 billion industry, the personal development industry, but it's all about these things. Why didn't we learn about how the brain works, and the brain, the mind, the body? It's only separated in books, right?
Well, I mean, because it's much more efficient and effective from a dollar point perspective to have a bunch of adults with money that can try to fix themselves after the fact than it is to build prosperity in the long run, because people are whole, happy, and fulfilled from the get-go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that was it was after doing this and seeing the kids light up. It was two things. It was, there's the content of all these skills, and I just call them real life skills. I wish I had better self-awareness, adaptability, tenacity, blah, blah, blah. There's the what that we do and the how we do it. And I recognized that not only could we be just doing better in terms of the school experience, but like the what and the how could be improved.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of the journey. And I knew things were good when the parents were like, yeah, you should be teaching us. And so, okay, how do I scale this? And that's, this is going to be easy. I don't know how many entrepreneurs, they do what they do by ignorance. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And if I knew, I might have been like, yeah, I may be better use of my time, but
well, but you're one of the few people I know other than myself that literally wakes up multiple times a night thinking about, how do I fix the world? You know what I mean? Okay, Atlas, what drop in the bucket? What drop in what bucket can I put to help balance out some of just the nonsense that's going on, and some of the, harsh realities that people overall are having to adjust to and adapt to, but then doing it from the perspective of a kid. We both have kids. They're both school age or recently going on and to other things, but either way, how do I mitigate some of this influence that's happening? Those things that you were referencing earlier, as far as the gamification and all of those things, there's a reason that those are the tactics that are used in marketing to draw people's attention and their eye or whatever else, because it's so fundamentally basic to our evolution and our survivability that it's, okay, so we can leverage this, but then using it for
good,
the right reason, for the right reasons. Yes, but it sounds like Batman when you say good.
Well, no,
for good.
Because I know we had this conversation before. You're learning all of these things on how we're hardwired, and I say we is just when we started with the fulfillment source code. My daughter was at this international school, so we had to make sure that the content was, it's called brain centric, because it's like you couldn't tell if, from two squishy brains, if it was where they're from, color of your skin, where you grew up. None of that is obvious, but how the brain works is, it's, I wouldn't say it's not exactly the same, but it's, dude, if you do these things, we all have to breathe. We all have to, rest. There's fundamental things that if any child knew these things, it would help them. You don't need to memorize everything. You don't need to agree with everything to get something out of it. And that was I forget who said that to me. Ooh, I like that. I'm totally going to use that. Yeah, keep that one. And that was essentially, when we start the fulfillment source code, I'm going to tell you stuff. You're going to learn things that your parents wish they knew when they were 10. And like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. But first, let's play a couple games, and then even better. So
Yeah,
we,
way cooler.
yeah. So, and we learn, again, the human brain loves to play, right? Like, and Andrew Huberman's got a great thing. You can die only once in life, but you can die 1,000 times playing video games. So as we
Yeah.
do this, the simulation in our brain going through stuff, this is better for us to be playing or simulating in our brain going through this stuff than having to deal with it in a life or death situation.
Yeah.
That's how the brain loves to learn. And
Yeah.
just taking that was, okay, let's go that way. And we have like 60 of these little adventures, and it's like a chapter in a book, and each one is connected to the last one. So it's what you learn here, you go here, and then as you're leveling up, and by the time you get to level 10, you're doing super cool stuff. And I tell you, man, when you got a 10-year-old talking about neuroplasticity or oxytocin and this, and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, okay. So toilet, Ohio Riz.
Because I didn't understand that. What? Say that one more time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So those are all things that are popularly said with that current generation, the iPad generation, essentially. That's the lingo. And there's a lot of jokes being made about that. But when you look at it from the perspective of they're so much more aware because we are now in the age of information. Our kids independently, what used to be, it's not a phase, mom. You know what I mean? Now you're looking at, there's something called Hope Core. That's Hope Core. Mental health is something that the kids look up constantly because they're scrambling to understand why they are so scrambled or whatever else. And yeah. So it's just,
this is my jams when you're talking about this stuff. Oh man, it's so different. No, that's not right. It's same, but it's the scale and the scope that as a parent, how would you know that? You're like, I went to, high school is hard. Yeah, it's always hard, but it's not the same degree.
no.
And
Were you, real quick, when we were in high school, you were aware of things that you saw on the news. If you didn't watch the news, you would maybe hear about it in school. Whereas the kids right now are actively aware that there's discussions about recession. They're actively aware of politics. They're actively aware that we're in wars. We're actively aware that there are multiple disorders and things, but the information vetting, the pieces of that at the root of it, even their parents, that's something that we've discussed moving into the adult side of things, because through all of this, they're going to go talk to their parents, and their parents are going to feel ill-equipped because they were never taught that. But just with all of those things, like
fair,
they're so much more aware.
They, without, and this is not shade. This is, oh man, you're opening up a huge can of worms on this one, but
Let's do it.
No, because it's okay. The human brain, rule number one, or priority number one, is like survival. Priority number two is use as little energy as possible. It's called the law of least effort, but it's all human brains operate survival, use as little energy as possible. And so the human brain has always been this giant filter of just what's not important. And well, for the vast majority of human development time, life was so much quieter. Mm. The perspective that I love is if you were to scale everything down to like a year. So Homo sapiens, for one, there's over 300,000 years. And let's just say we're on the second of midnight, December 31st. Like that's where we are right now. So to keep things in perspective, the wheel was invented a week ago, like Christmas at 7:24 a.m. That's when the wheel came. And everything from the printing press happened today. So in terms of like our development time, everything was just totally chill up until about a week ago when the wheel came. And then, then things, no.
And now there are people getting sick. This is probably, I don't know if I mentioned this to you. There are people getting sick because there are AI generated foraging books, foraging for berries and mushrooms. And there was such a long process of people eating one. Oh, no, that was a kill you one. But because the way that things are moving so quickly. But that's what
Sorry,
I'm just saying.
they're
In
following.
comparison,
I'm sorry, they're following an
no,
AI generated foraging book and getting sick.
they don't know that it was written by AI. There's people that are leveraging AI, and I read an article just the other day about there are people that are getting sick because they're following a book about foraging, but the author of that book used AI. It wasn't vetted properly. And now we are back that
Man,
mushroom is a no-no mushroom.
oopsie. Oh man.
Yeah.
Back
But
to the
you're
kids.
battling that.
Uh,
But that's what you're battling for
Adults are
kids.
battling
How do
this.
you
Yeah,
help it? Well,
adults are
yeah,
battling.
but I mean, but how do we set them up not to?
So going through this stuff for me is, I was doing this for the kids, and then to scale this, I had to do this for the kids and for the teachers. And then, well, why don't we do this for the kids and the teachers and also the parents? And then, I mean, the scope keeps getting bigger, and then the complexity for that just gets bigger. But more to the point of like, okay, so our superpower neuroplasticity is to adapt. So there's that. And so we get used to this all around us being, oh yeah, this is normal. Not even contemplating like we are living like magicians.
Oh, gods. Honestly, we're all
Yeah,
royalty.
yeah, the most amazing emperor that ever lived, 200 years ago is like, dude, I wish I had what you got. I mean, just borderline poverty line stuff. Oh, plumbing, electricity, warm water, medicine, all of these things that are, you can talk to somebody on the other side of the planet, like, oh, you have the world's wealth of all knowledge in the palm of your hand. And that's just taken for granted. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just, that's just how the brain works. Neuroplasticity is positive or negative, right? So it adapts, or where the best thing before was, oh yeah, can't think of that. But it works both ways. So if you know how to use it, that's great. If you don't know how to use it, then it's basically being used against you. Anyhow, the whole thing is like, for a parent today to think about their kid going through high school, they're like, oh, the opposite sex is more important than homework. Duh. Yeah, that's still the case. However, your distractions going in high school are one thousandth or one millionth of what your kids are going through. And
Mm-hmm.
that scope, it's hard to comprehend. When I went to school, I watched comics. I read comics, and that was a bad thing. Or watching cartoons, that was a bad thing. Or, dude, if you got, Playboy, which I only read for the articles, of course.
Me too.
You had to go to the store. Yeah, for sure. So these things were there, but now it's literally in the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
Not only is it way more accessible,
It's being pushed.
well, that too. So it's way more accessible, 1,000 times more accessible than it was when I grew up. And the scope and scale of what is accessible, 1,000,000 times more. It's so much easier. It's so much more. And your brain is just going. And then for the poor kids, they've got 1,000,000 more things that are just cooler than school. And then the school has learned this stuff, and they're like, why? It's so accessible.
Yeah.
So the brain, which is a filter for stuff that's not important, well, why am I doing this when there's all of this stuff? It's right here. Why do I have to memorize it? Why do I have to use this energy? The brain's like, well, I don't want to use energy. It's all there. Plus, there's 1,000 more things where people are spending billions of dollars to attract their attention away from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
oh, hey. why aren't they okay? Why aren't the kids okay? And you're not even bringing into that piece that I sent you about the video I sent you, where the expectation that somebody would have that you would respond instantly would be considered psychopathic. Or, you know what I mean? Psychopathic, I don't think is a word. But either way, it's just the accessibility portion. They're also being pinged constantly. And then the social expectations, but then their parents are also under that exact. I get emails from people all day about work stuff, or text messages, or Discord. It's just constant.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but we don't
the
know how to do that for ourselves. We have to like
exactly.
purposely, I'm not going to look at that. But I mean, a kid, some of them are doing that, but just the monumental effort that they are doing to achieve that ability to disconnect because they already recognize this is too much for me. I'm having a hard time doing
Yeah,
that. My daughters would go through like a few months of getting rid of, social media apps and things like that. And she'll do that for herself. But that is a child grasping for some level of I need to feel okay. And so it's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
yeah,
and
it's a lot.
yeah. I mean, I consider myself a pretty positive guy, and I there's times where I have to stop, just working on what I'm doing, because in addition to trying to make the adventure accessible for everybody, I'm also trying to keep up. So, like 2023, AI came on the scene, and I was just like, "Holy crap!"
And also,
Oh, well, yeah, it was both. It was
yes, this is awesome. Oh my God, this is terrifying.
well,
Like,
it's a
simultaneously.
yeah, totally, because and it was within the span of, oh my God, this is an amazing tool. This is the world. This is the most powerful tool humans have ever had. And I'm, oh shit,
Yeah,
how are they going to
we're
use
not
it?
ready.
Yeah, well, yeah. So all tools basically augment or accentuate human nature, the good and the bad. Again, it's just the what we could possibly do. Back to the whole scale and scope things. Life for most humans was in this scope right here. We could do this. Living and dying all happened here. Wasn't very different. Generation after generation after generation. It's just good and bad here. And I still think that, the birth of your child is like the best thing, and the death of a child is like the worst thing. So you have these things, but then the scope of what you could possibly experience has gone from this to this to this to this, and it's just getting
Mm-hmm.
bigger. And whew, what you could do with AI and what is being done with AI is just like, and so what used to be good and bad, what was the expectations, has just gone off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
And I get back to the scales. Growing up, are you a fast kid? Are you a smart kid? Are you whatever? You do that by who's around you. But
The whole world's around you.
it's worse.
Yeah.
As a growing kid, I'm like, oh, here's somebody who's better than me at everything. And not this one. Here's someone who's better than me, and another one, and another one, and another one, at absolutely everything. And they're 5 years younger. And why am I not getting this done? I mean, just
Yeah.
oh. I mean,
Yeah.
and adults are having problems.
Yeah. I had a conversation with somebody recently where I was just expressing to them that what they're seeing is like a clip or a little piece of it, and that they don't understand. And I think that you and I had circled back and talked about this, where if you see that image or whatever else, that video that makes you think, or it's a succession of them, you think that they are like that all the time. And realistically, unless I am on a kayak videotaping a leaf for an hour, that's the only time that I don't have some overwhelming anxiety going on at the same time that I'm going through one of the most enjoyable and joyful experiences of my life. Humans exist in that duality all the time, but the expectation that is being built that you can just be happy all the time, or that boredom is something that you have to conquer constantly, that is an unhealthy expectation, which is causes a lot of issue.
And I mean, it's bullshit, is what it is. I mean, it's a sales tactic. And again, this just goes back to how the brain works. If the better you understand the brain, the better your chances are of leading a more fulfilled life. Like, there's no guarantee that you're going to lead a fulfilled life, but the more you understand the brain, the better your chances are. And Mo Godot, I think I'm saying this right, he's an ex-Googler who wrote this book. I think it's called the fulfillment equation or something like that. I was going to go with the happiness equation, which I could totally do this, but we ended up with the fulfillment source code. But anyhow, so in psychology, there's this concept called valence, and valence essentially says reality is here minus your expectations equals a positive or negative. So everything that we have, everything that we experience, all the thoughts, your dreams, your all experiences happen in your brain, right? It's processed in your brain. And so it goes through this filter, your own filter of your own perspective, your perception. For example, you get an 80 on the test. That's the reality. If you expected 100, then 80 minus 100 is negative 20. You're gonna be like, oh man. But if you're like, I got an 80, I thought I was gonna fail. So 80 minus 50 is like, woo, right? So the reality hasn't changed, but the valence is, again, it's like reality minus your expectations. And today, because of marketing and because of just what is it so accessible and filtered, and all these, look how amazing my life is, and you see it again and again and again and again. This didn't develop for this. The brain didn't develop for having access to being exposed to all of this stuff and not thinking that's reality.
Mm-hmm.
So if my expectations are here for everything and my reality is not that, you're going to be constantly like, oh man. It's just, and
then you're having to put the energy into telling yourself, no, it's okay. So instead of that energy being dispersed or sent somewhere else for something that is active, engaging, and helps you actually feel fulfilled, you're just in, what's the word, crisis management mode, constantly trying to tell yourself that you're doing okay.
Yeah, it's kind of the amount of energies, all shields to the, all power to the rear shields. Rear shields. Yeah. It's like,
I can't do it, Captain.
That's what I can't do.
I don't have the power.
Yeah. So if you're constantly in crisis mode, that's one thing. But it's kind of like the whole sugar thing. Like if you're constantly eating sugar in your body's, inflammation because of sugar, then you're constantly draining some of your energy just to deal with that. And so you don't have the energy for all this other stuff. And it's like, adults are struggling. And I just feel for kids, it's just, puberty is hard. In the simplest environments, puberty is hard. Yeah. So I'm just like, whoo. So every day I'm like, okay, I know I'm doing a
good thing.
No,
you're doing a good thing, Sam.
Thank you. I know I'm doing something that's like, talk about having a passion or a purpose. This has got to get done. It's got to get done. So I don't need more motivation. Sometimes I just need to be like, I got today I'm going to do nothing. That's what
we're working on right now, both me and you, purposefully trying to calm the freaking greyhound chasing the rabbit inside of ourselves down.
You can't keep, it's like sprinting is a short-term thing. If you're constantly on sprint, you're just like, poof. So there's that.
Marathon.
It's like, it's not even just a marathon. It's like a series. It's like you're going to do a marathon. No, you got to do 100 marathons.
Yeah.
So I'm doing 100 marathons. Okay. So how I run the first one is not going to be going for my best time. It's like, no, I'm going to do this so I don't get hurt. Or if I do get hurt, it's not going to be super bad. So I can do the next one and just keep like, and what is it? I think it's Peter Attia. He's got a great thing about the Centurion Olympics. Train not to be in the Olympics, train so that you can be in the Olympics when you're 100. Okay, first I got to live to 100. So what can I be doing that's going to ensure that I can live to 100 and be in the Olympics then? I mean, of course, for 100-year-olds, but different kind of mindset. Training. It's just like, okay.
So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of a cork or like a stopper into episode 2 for somebody now. And I want to thank Sam, you'rethebomb.com. Once him and I get talking about pretty much anything, but especially stuff that like is a passion point or feels like it has a lot of substance and matters, we can just roll with it and go with it. And that's a good thing because I already have the content for episode 3 because we ended up recording through a litany of technical issues and stuff like that, and just working on getting it out and it not being perfect and that being okay. But I am going to try to be better about getting content out every week. Building a content library is one of the things that is always a struggle for an organization, but I'm probably just going to harass Sam and be like, come do that thing with me, because he's just amazing and articulate and well-researched and super funny. So it just works. And I feel like there's a good flow there. But Leticia, I got her name wrong on the Somebody Now video with Gary Vee that I referenced in the first one. I thought it was like, so I watch a lot of things on silent and then I'll go back and listen to it. And I feel like if you're doing a podcast called Somebody Now and then you put somebody's name incorrectly or like mispronounce it, that like negates the value of it. So her name was Leticia. But yeah, so I hope that your week is baller, and thank you guys for listening. I ended up getting 26 like separate users the first, like separate downloads the first week, which was astronomical to me because it's just, I expect that stuff to take years. Like it's not a light switch. So having any type of movement like that was outstanding. The socials will take their own times and they have all their own like algorithms and like little things or whatever else. But my goal is to be consistent, and because this is really near and dear to my heart and something that I feel like I should be doing. I hope that you are hydrating and taking care of yourself, making sure you get rest, eating consistently, just doing the things that you need to do to make sure that you're, happy, healthy, and moving forward in your lives. And I think that's about it. So I'll see you next week, and I hope you have a great day, and we will talk later. It's not doing the hearts though for some reason. Usually the Mac is on it with that, but I can do the hearts, but it's not going to do the hearts. So there they are. But all right. Bye.